All right. All right, so we could have some technical difficulties. We don't know. We're just going to play it by ear. New camera setup, new light setup. Anybody that's new, doesn't know me, I'm Jimmie Allen. I joined in 2003, a long time ago. How many people are here from when I first joined this club? How many people? Sounds like our mic's cutting in and out. All right. Well, this thing is tight, so we'll just keep playing with it. So the wood turning clubs have changed my life, obviously. You guys see me go from nothing to, yeah. I was terrified to be up here. Now I can stand up here, and we'll see if I can screw up tonight. Everyone seems to like it the most when I mess stuff up. So I always wing this stuff. It's been a while since we've done the box demo here. I've done it everywhere else now. So I always start my demos. If you guys can ever tell me anything that I could do better or tell me anything I did. I brought 2 women with me, so they're going to tell me everything I did wrong before I leave the parking lot tonight. So it's kind of how I started now. People laugh. Well, yeah. No. Oh, trust me, they tell me what I did wrong. So we're going to just do a simple, basic box. We're not going to try and get into any fancy stuff. I think if you do the traditional, easy thing, then we can grow from there. We're going to, how long do we have till? Because I think I'm short on time. Have an hour? All righty, we got to go fast. So I'm not going to go over design. That's a whole nother demonstration in its own self. So normally on boxes, you rough these things out. You let them sit for a while, kind of let your wood move around, do its thing, then you get back to it. I'll pass stuff around throughout the demo. So this is what a normal roughed out box would look like. If I had a PowerPoint set up, you'd see like a couple of hundred of these sitting in piles everywhere in the shop. So this is how I would normally prepare a blank. This is straight off the tool. It's done real fast. It's not done to be a finished box. It's done. This was wet wood when we got it. This is from a while ago. This says 10/1/16, so I think this one's ready. Yeah, sure. So that's kind of what they look like. Oh, here, you can pass this. We'll do. This is just what we're going to do tonight. We're just going to do a simple little box that's basic. This is off the tool. This is another demo box. So this is what we're going to do. Nothing fancy. I've kind of already turned it round. I find we just have to start doing these things. They have their own life then. Anybody have any questions? Feel free to ask. Lots of questions. For people that don't know, I do the negative rake scrapers. I do most of the box with that, unless I'm doing the fancy boxes and I use gouges. But tonight we're going to basically use a negative rake scraper, and we're going to use a spindle gouge, and that's all we're going to use. I mean, I used a roughing gouge to round this up. Yeah. It's so much easier when you're at a different club and you don't know everybody there. So I got it round. I'm going to face off the front so that when you do your tenon, you don't have a jagged edge. What lathe speed do we turn at, John? John Elliott? I know you're here. You can't see him. He's behind somebody, huh? Anyway, he'd tell you there's one speed all the way up. So what speed do we turn at, John? All the way up, right? We're at 3650. That's as fast as the lathe goes. I think John's lathe goes up to 4, doesn't it? Yeah. He's got a hot rodded lathe. Okay, so we're gonna start off with putting the tenon on the bottom. So by the way, I mean, I already proportioned this thing kind of with your 2/3 and your basic 1/3 thing. You know, you can kind of, this is bigger than I need. When you mark your wood and you glue it up, you know, when I cut it, I kind of do this thing to keep from like gluing it up wrong, and I still screw it up sometimes. But if you make marks on it, it works a lot better. To go over the system we use, I've never used a chuck to make a box. Dan Ackerman was the old box master. He kind of invented this little system of a mandrel with the glue block. That's what everybody used when I first started doing this, so that's kind of what I've adopted. Dan, sadly, is no longer with us. His system lives on. You'll see more of this later. I don't have any of this stuff yet, but we're going to resurrect this stuff and bring some of it back. It just takes a while, man, one thing at a time. The D-Way tool thing is keeping me busy for now. Would you have ever imagined that? Remember when I was hiding behind Dave? I was afraid to even speak or look at anybody? And yeah, look at us now. You just never know what the future has in store. For all you new people, there's awesome people in this club. I mean, if you plug in and you join in, and you'll make great friends. They're everywhere. I mean, look at our camera guy. Our ex-president. I mean, they're everywhere out there. So we're going to start with putting the pin in on here. This is kind of a big box. Normally they're smaller than this, but I had a dental appointment run long today, and I actually cut this wood and glued it on at 5 o'clock. I was still sticking stuff in my truck. So, a word on the gluing thing. For people that use CA glue, it's great in the beginning. It lasts for a few months. But if anyone remembers our last solder session, I used the thick CA to glue this on, and it didn't get glued tight all the way to the block. So there were hollow voids in the glue because it was thick. And this thing squealed so loud. So I tried to press this. Use the medium glue if you're going to use CA glue. I use yellow glue and a clamp when I do it on all the stuff I rough out. But for one day or the next month, CA glue works okay. Okay, so we'll get the tenon down a little bit more. I'm going to go a little smaller than here. Alright. So any questions, Jeff?
The new rubber-based CA glue, Jimmy, is way stronger.
Is it? I know, I've seen it. I haven't tried it yet. I've tried the black back in the day.
The rubber stuff's really...
So it has a little more flex in it. It doesn't...
A little more time to set, too.
There's a rubberized version of the CA now. Apparently that's a little more flexible. It's a flexible version. So it's probably more impact resistant.
More impact resistant, but just way stronger, even in tension.
That's good to know. See what? There's always something to learn. So, when I rough these things out, I use a spindle gouge and hog these things out really fast. But I think I'm going to show everybody the negative rate hollowing because it's safe and you can get a nice. This is basically just going to be a tiny little bowl with a lid. So, a lot of people will tell you to drill a hole and do all that, and isn't it the biggest problem that you have when you're hollowing something out is that little nub that you get on the bottom all the time? So the biggest problem with drilling a depth hole and hollowing this thing out and then trying to clean up the bottom and get rid of that little nub if you haven't developed a lot of turning skill, by the time you figured out how to get that nub out, you're through the bottom of your piece. So if you just, until you get dialed in and figured out, if you just hollow this out, and by the time you get to the bottom, you will develop the little technique to get this nub out. I'll kind of talk about it as we go. It's basically just a fluid back and forth motion, and that's why these. So you're seeing what I'm seeing on the monitor. Is that what we're doing, Jeff?
Correct.
Okay, so I always grind my tips back a little bit farther past 90 so that as I'm going back and forth, that corner doesn't dig in on the other side. You can come completely on the other side and you're safe. You'll never get the nub out by going up and down like this, always back and forth. Some people will tell you that you can't cut very fast with these things or that they don't cut very smoothly. I I'm not applying very much pressure. Do you think we're cutting fast enough? A lot of times as you go down farther, you need to raise your rest up a little bit. So the key to a nice fluid curve is basically a fluid motion. Match your tool and your handle to what you're working on. I make a fulcrum point on the tool rest, and that kind of is what basically makes, you can go just like a bowl, you can start at the top, and you can come and you can work your way down to the middle. You can start in the middle, you can pull yourself back up. I kind of have a tendency to do a rotation back and forth. And you can see when you hit the middle, you see how the tool jumps around a little bit. If you clamp down on the tool and you try and muscle that thing out, you'll start noticing it'll start hopping around. Human nature is, you'll see me even do it, I'll clamp down on it a little bit sometimes. It's actually the opposite if you lighten up your touch. You'll find that and you'll go right past it. I mean, there you are, you're dead center, you're taking that nub off. The nice balanced position is good. So is everything working? Can everybody see good? All right. Oh, they were telling me we're going to have lots of bobbles tonight, so. Are we recording this?
Yes.
Oh, you'll be editing stuff out.
No.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will. All right, can you guys see in there very good, or? Well, we know I'm going to screw something up. I don't think you can sharpen enough. I mean, I can do this whole thing without sharpening the tool, but you can kind of notice how the shavings aren't quite as fluffy as they were. So, I mean, I gotta go fast. So without spending a bunch of time, I sharpen my stuff upside down on a dedicated platform. Hey, off the phone, man. You're supposed to be paying attention. So, I mean, you can thing without renewing the burr, but I mean, when sharpening is easy, why wouldn't you sharpen? So, I just put the tool on there. I literally rotate like one time. It's easier if you take it out of the handle. If anybody watches our video on our website, I mean, step-by-step detail. Our local guru, Eric Lostrom, is the more important one in the video. Our man, Jeff, here was the one behind the camera. He edited a lot of stuff out of that. So you'll see a difference in the shavings now. Can you tell a difference in the sound? And just like a bowl, it's just smaller. Just like a goblet, anything with the round base. You can see how when you get to the middle, if you try forcing it, how it hops around. So if you like your touch, you can go right on the other side, and it's not going to catch, it's not going to dig in. That's the disadvantage to the other form of scrapers that are basically a sideways skew. You go past middle, you're going to get a dig in, and it's not pretty. Quiet, somebody's supposed to ask a question or something. Pretty complex up here. Okay, do you want to zoom in on that, or? sees me demonstrate here sees the value of these short handles that don't get in the way. Watch the difference with the longer handle. Maybe I didn't bring a longer handle. There's long handles back there, huh? I'll use a different tool. Too. Yeah, this big long tool handle, doesn't this kind of seem a little bit unwieldy now? A lot harder to use? It's just, it gets in the way for, what's that? Yeah, I'll choke up on it, but the handle still sticks out. There's a reason you see me use the short tool handle. See how it's in the way? This is great on a bigger turning. Doesn't that seem a lot smoother? It's a lot easier to control for a tiny little thing. I can't even see in there right now, but like there's our middle. When's the next soda session, Brad? When's the next soda session?
Right now, September.
Oh, we gotta fix that.
No, we just haven't set the date yet. There will be one soon.
Alright.
One in September is on a Wednesday.
Yeah, all the new people, man, you really gotta come to the soda session. We'll get my shop a little more situated and moved in more. We'll have some open shop days. Whereas Jeff probably left. Jeff's the next guy to get up here. I've been working on it for years. So we'll have him do threaded boxes. Yeah, easy eyes when you line it up.
Are you going to show how you sharpen things?
Yeah, I'll do it again. I just did, but you were looking at your phone. No, that's good. Jimmie said, oh, don't say that. So I just put it on the platform. I usually give it another rotation back just for good measure, and that completely puts the burr back on it. Want me to do the roll in the burr thing? Okay. There's a bunch of different burrs. Our video explains all that. There really are a lot of different kind of burrs. I have a tendency to like to use the grinder burr just because it's easy and I don't have to mess with it. But there are certain exotic woods that do not like the burr very much. And this is a perfect example of a broken box that I ruined. But I keep this because this cut down the side is done with burr completely honed off of one of our tools. And you'll see there's 3 different scratches that I did with sandpaper. One is 400, one is 600, and the last one is 1,000 grit. And you'll see even the 1,000 grit scratched up the surface. And so this is the actual cut that you can get off of the tool if you hone the burr completely off. That doesn't work for our local big leaf maple or some of the other woods, but for the really hard, dense, exotic woods and for the acrylics, it works great. Yeah, this isn't a joke. This is actually real. It's weird to see 1,000 grit scratch up a surface off the tool. All right, so we'll hollow this out a little bit more. I'm trying to use these bifocal safety glasses and they're not working. So I'm going to have to go to the normal, funny looking one. Sorry about that, but I mean, I'm just having problems seeing in there. Okay, let's get our little nub out. Pretty easy to tell when you find it. So you always want to, before you get ready to do your sanding, you always want to do your last few passes, sharpen your tool first. Are you going to stand here this whole time? I'm going to be an assistant, yeah. I don't know if I like this, man. But you can see how easy it is. Once you lighten up a little bit, it's really easy to get. Anyway, that's what you come to sawdust sessions for, and that's why you go visit people in their shops. But it's so docile that you can actually, I mean, I can actually make these cuts and not even look. I'm looking at you guys. I'm not even looking at what I'm doing. I mean, so that's how docile of a tool it is. There's the middle. So, very forgiving. So we'll get this little nub out. No, I'm good, man. I just wanted everybody to see. So it's kind of amazing sometimes the heft of a bigger tool on something smaller what you'll get. Well, even without a handle, I mean. Can you kind of hear the difference and tell the difference? No vibration or no shatter. It's a bigger, beefier tool.
What kind of wood is that?
It's the Eastern maple. And that's even with no handle. And your little nub is gone then.
Glad to see you have trouble with that.
Everybody has a little trouble with it, but it's just a back and forth motion. And you lighten up your grip, you'll find it, you'll feel it, it'll float around middle, and you just go back and forth. And don't worry about a teeny tiny little one. I mean, that knocks off real fast, real easy. So now's when I would sand the inside before I switch to the top. This is one of those instances where sanding slower will actually, you'll sand faster. I would start sanding at 320 or 4. This is 400 right here. So these are special little sanding manuals I kind of make out of some used up old ones. But you could see how see, I don't even have the lathe on. My drill is spinning 150 RPMs maybe. See the dust is coming out. I go fast. On a lot of our big leaf maple wood, it's going to get hot. Everyone knows what those little heat check lines are, right? On the lid, they go through your whole thing. So you'll sand faster by actually sanding slower. I usually don't even run the lathe, and if I do, I run it and I turn it all the way down as low as it'll go, like 250 or 3. And that's about, you get it any hotter than that, and then your paper comes up, and I mean, if you do have a little nub, it comes right off. I'll pass this around. This is one of those things that's super easy to make. All of us carpenters used to have these in our toolbox. I guess you can't buy them anymore now. You have to find them on Amazon. They're the old type with the Allen set screws in it. So basically, this is an old burned out sanding manual, like the 2-inch ones out there. If you guys haven't ruined one yet, you will. Don't throw it away. Save it. You can take it and you can put it in a drill chuck and you can turn it to whatever size. I take 2 pieces of Velcro and wrap it back and forth, and you wrap a bunch of tape around it. Then the tape doesn't scar up your wood turning piece. So I left this one with only one piece on and the Allen screws to be visible. This is the tiny little one I make for when I do these little tiny boxes like this. I mean, this is 1.5 inches, and this fits right in there. I mean, it'll get you a perfect curve, and anyone can make these for free. I've tried taking the Velcro and sheets and cutting all little slits and trying to roll a ball around. It doesn't work. Nothing works better than 2 X's like that. And it doesn't need to be glued. Just take a piece of tape and wrap it real good. This is worth the price of admission right here, this little trick. Oh, here, because that's what they look like. Every carpenter got those, but, you know, they're all fancy now with the little slider sleeves, and they're $10. They used to be $2. So that's all we would do. We'd sand a couple grits, and then we'd wax our inside. We'd be finished. So I'm going to switch and put the top on. You can see the joy of the Ackerman chuck is every time you spin the thing on and off, it goes back true every time. You pull a piece of wood out of a chuck and you put it back in. We all know it doesn't go back. Especially with these little boxes with the little 16th-inch beads. This lines up every time. And when you're coming up with a new shape, I mean, instead of doing this all the time, just spin it off and then they look a lot different like this than they do like this. So we'll put this other piece on and we'll get going on that. I kind of had rounded these off before I started to get this going faster, but it's going to be the same thing. This one should be round. I'll clean the face off and then we'll hollow it out. We'll do it a little differently. All the way up. If you're afraid to turn your lathe all the way up, you can turn it down. It just, I think you get a little cleaner cut with it all the way up. I mean, that's 36, and that's 15. I don't know, which one would you rather turn out? Exactly. I don't have the lathe duty that goes to 4, man. Same thing, just space the front just so that you clean up any tear out if you have any here. This is the one time when you get a pair of calipers out. Don't use it for measuring. You want to size your tenon. So I will take that, and I usually go about 0.5 millimeter bigger than I need. No, I want to go the other way, smaller. It's a real funny look on my face when I do this wrong and I go to fit the lid on in front of 100 people. So if you go like 0.5 millimeter smaller, kind of gets you where you need to go a little quicker. This is another reason why I turn the lathe all the way down. You can put a couple of little lines on there, it'll help you out. You can save about 10 minutes maybe. You guys see that little line? So that gets you pretty close. Now back to the real speed. So I got to that. I know that I'm safe, so this stuff gets easier the more you do it. I mean, no matter how many times you measure how deep you think you cut your lid, when you part it off on all your new boxes, that lids are always going to be thicker than what you want. Time and making more boxes is what cures that.